we're going all the way to Spain to our resident Olympic gold medalist, Joe Jacobi.
Oh, amazing.
Joe, you're up with Marc Champagne.
Bon dia, Marc. And actually not so far away from that Picasso, the museum where you did the first run through
Yes.
of Picasso. I'm about 2.5 hours north of Barcelona, up in the Pyrenees, right near the Principality of Andorra. Yeah, first I would just tell the group it is a wonderful book. I highly recommend it. I'm someone that actually almost my brain works in a way I'd almost prefer not to have like so much information at once. Like I like the idea. I always say, going deeper with fewer. I would almost say like a really interesting way to read this book would be to read like one profile a month, do the questions in the journal, and then just flip Marc $20-25 a month, until you're done with the book. And you'll probably like have an amazing experience going in. I'll also say, the balance between the living and people of past, I thought what was really interesting are the people who are more recently passed. Not just Kobe Bryant, Steve Jobs, Maya Angelou. That would be my first jumping off point, a little unexpected, some things I didn't know about her in that chapter, which I'm really grateful. But my question actually circles back to you in the app, because right now I'm actually working on an article right now about people resetting systems. And I think when something isn't producing an outcome, I think often the problem seems a bit obvious. I think what is a bit more nuanced is that when we're have a process that is actually appears or implying some success or some production, and we've attached some identity to it, which, gosh, I was just looking at the numbers. Like, I mean, I was just so bought in, in the introduction of like where you were when you killed the app. But I wonder if you might actually talk a little bit more when people have really attach their identity, maybe their sense of being, to something, but you can sort of feel the misalignment. Like, go deeper into like what that was like for you, and how you killed it, how you killed your darling, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, there was a few things. I mean, there were a few factors that led up to that moment. One being, I mean, we talked about Claude Silver. I remember that was a big moment because I remember, interviewing Claude and then having her in the app and so forth, and thinking like, wow, this is like one of the biggest, media agencies in the world. I mean, it's pretty incredible that, and as you mentioned, Scott, she's turned into an incredible friend. But at that time, it was like, wow, it's so amazing to have someone like that interested, or Adam Grant and Lego was involved, LinkedIn and so forth. And I only share that because in a way, what that was doing was masking, the underlying problems where the business model wasn't working. Like, we knew that. I mean, we obviously were following the numbers, but it almost gave a sense of, okay, there's good things happening. It's just a matter of time. And then you continually hear the stories in the entrepreneurial world, like, just keep going, keep your head going, or your head down, and keep pushing through. And, that's what makes or breaks, these kind of companies and situations. So, we were very much following that and getting to the point where it just, like, I was feeling physically sick often, just seeing what was happening financially. And it actually was, it was the point in the journey where we were actually the most clear on the next steps that actually gave the answer to what we had to do. And what I mean by that, we had just finished our first round of legit user research, brought someone in, an expert in the space, interviewed users and so forth. We had a product roadmap all lined up, and that research came in, and it was very clear what we had to do next. And I remember thinking, I'm like, okay, this, like, we have the roadmap, but at the same time, now we're not naive to the fact that we are not going to nail this in one product iteration. And we know how much every development cycle costs. And frankly, we went through 3 different development teams, and we just brought on a local team out of Toronto, which was, 3 times the price. And that was the team that was, I don't know, going to do 2, 3, 4, 5. That was the problem. Like, how many iterations do we have to go through before we nail that product market fit? And that's the moment where we're like, we just don't, we can't take that gamble. That feels irresponsible. I mean, you know, I had one kid, my brother-in-law had two at the time. You know, we weren't in a dorm room, you know, with zero expenses. You know, we had a family. So, you know, that's what provide a little bit more comfort in making the decision, even though you know, it definitely felt like I deleted my identity in that moment. And that was really hard until, you know, the questions started and the mental fitness and so forth. And then also just like finding that spark again, that, you know, the only thing that I kept from an expense standpoint was my gym membership. And, you know, I couldn't even afford it. But I mean, my full-time job at the time was just, you know, go exercise. They had thankfully that gym had a steam room, and I would, you know, visualize and do some breath work and meditation in the, like, so every morning I at least could start my days for an hour with a positive mindset, and then continually flip in and out and in and out and in and out until eventually I was in a more of a thriving mind, more days than not.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed the book.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to everyone else's questions.
And if
Thanks,
you want
Joe.
a stocking stuffer, pick up Joe's book, Slalom, and you will not be disappointed throwing that under the tree or in a stocking as well. So
I will.
I think we're